Let Go is a psychological mystery thriller that is brought to us by Blumhouse Productions. The main character is this guy named Jack, played by David Oyelowo. I actually think I pronounced that right, but maybe not. He's this private detective kind of police officer. He has a very close relationship with his niece. His niece's name is Ashley. She's played by Storm Reed. And she doesn't have a particularly close relationship with her father because her father is bipolar. He's also been in and out of drug abuse. Point is, because her father isn't really a part of her life the way he should be, she's turned to her Uncle Jack for a lot in her life. So what I immediately liked seeing in this movie is the kind of father-daughter relationship that the two do have. It's just seeing the protective nature that Jack does have for Ashley. I mean, the second she calls him for anything or she needs him for anything, he will drop whatever he can do to be there for her. Whether it's a phone call, picking her up, listening to what's going on in her life, he's just very good at being there for her, you know? It makes you root for him. It makes you root for, you know, the two of them. But at the same time, I like seeing the way they talk to each other back and forth because it's not really the way a father and daughter communicate with each other. It's the way an uncle and niece talk to each other. It's like the movie at the same time doesn't want you to get it twisted. It's like, okay, yeah, they have a father-daughter kind of relationship, but they are an uncle and niece first and foremost. And later on one night, Jack gets a call from Ashley begging him for help, so he goes to the house, and at this house, he finds Ashley along with her mother and father all shot and dead. The immediate suspicion is her father, in like a cocaine-induced rage, just killed the whole family and then shot himself, and that's what everyone's been rolling with. Even Jack believes that's probably what happened. But then the supernatural of this movie sets in. A few weeks after the funeral, he gets a call on his phone from Ashley, and of course Jack's immediately all confused. He's like, how's this happening? What's going on? And what I also like seeing at this point is how the movie establishes kind of what is happening. Like, you kind of knew if you saw the trailer like I did that Ashley was calling Jack from the past, and that's how, you know, she's technically still alive. She's calling him from a different timeline. But I like seeing Jack figure that out for himself, because at first, in a situation like this, he doesn't immediately know what's going on. I like that the movie didn't automatically make him a genius in being able to figure out, oh, she must be calling me from the past or an alternate timeline. Immediately, he's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. It made the movie feel real, and I appreciate that. Not a lot of movies take that little extra step. Like, one scene in particular that I really liked is he's on the phone with Ashley and he's telling her, he's like, okay, I want you to spray paint an X on this wall that I'm standing in front of right now. If you do this, and if what I think is true, it will appear in front of me, and then I'll start to know what's happening. You know, in her timeline, she sprays paints the X, and all of a sudden appears in front of him, and now he's like, oh shit, so what's going on right now is he explains to her, it's like, okay, you're calling me from the past, and in my timeline, you die. But if we can uncover the true meaning behind your murder, we can figure out how to stop it. My timeline will be erased, but you will live. And that's what I'll give this movie credit right out the gate. The premise is very original, it's very unique. That's where I'll always give Blumhouse movies, for the most part, credit. Even if the movies aren't very good, the premises are unique and they're original. They're not like anything we've ever really seen before. We see mystery thrillers all the time. I can't remember one quite like this. And the performances in this movie are great. The two leads who play the characters of Jack and Ashley, both of them crush it. Storm Reed, gotta give her a lot of credit. She's a really good actress for her young age. I love seeing how, you know, she's confused to what's going on. I love seeing the fear in her and knowing that in a certain timeline she's going to die, and they have to do everything exactly right if she's going to live. I like seeing the way her character was handling that, because if I was someone her age, I probably would have reacted the same way. And seeing the pressure in Jack and the fact that he has to figure out exactly what happened, because in a way he now has to change whatever Ashley could have done in her past to change her future. But as I mentioned earlier, the movie has a great premise. The execution of the premise, though, this is where the movie did lose me. Because ultimately, it reaches a point in the movie where it becomes not so much an investigation towards Ashley's murder, but rather a drug deal that was going on that led to Ashley's murder. And the reason I had a problem with that is because, as a result, it didn't entirely make the journey into figuring out how she died. It didn't make it all that personal. I mean, granted, the drug deal that went on that Jack is investigating, it does lead to her murder, but I think what I would have appreciated is, in a way, someone maybe had a vendetta against Ashley's family, or maybe even her, and someone just went psycho, and he had to try to figure out what possibly could have happened to this family or went on with this family that would lead to someone to go to that house, murder that family, including this young daughter. As the investigation goes on, the investigation goes into more of Jack beginning to suspect that there's this double agent in the police force that's running this drug cartel. They learn of this guy named Georgie who's running this drug supply chain, or drug gang. Drug cartel, that's the name of it. I don't do drugs, I don't know this shit. The problem is, I couldn't invest myself completely in this investigation because it just wasn't that personal. There are definitely some intense moments where Ashley's almost gonna get caught. If she gets caught, that's gonna ruin everything, and Jack's trying to guide her. It's like, okay, do this, go here, avoid that. I do like playing the game. I do like always playing the game in these murder mysteries where it's like, okay, you pick out a couple characters, some of which look suspicious or could be suspicious, and you're thinking, alright, it's gotta be them. But then you think, alright, but that character was there when this happened. I do like the feeling of being in on the investigation. The problem was, I wish the investigation just took a different kind of route. I wish they investigated something different than a drug deal. The fact that it was a drug deal that conveniently led to Ashley being murdered, I just felt that was a little too convenient for me. I just wish, I don't know, I wanted more of a personal story there. I wanted to really feel like, oh, someone just had it out for her and wanted to kill her. And I'll get to the end of the movie because I will say right now, the end of this movie is really intense. You find out the guy who murdered the family was this guy named Bobby, who did work in the police force, but he was also the hired gun of this drug cartel. And you do ultimately find out that the reason he went to this house and murdered this family was because a drug deal went sour between him and Ashley's father. And so now as a result, he has to kill her father to tie up loose ends. And you know, he gets in there, he's like, well, I can't have witnesses, so everybody in the house has to die. But again, I guess that's also kind of the bother for me right there, is the fact that this whole thing went down because a drug deal went wrong. Like, the man who came and killed the family just had a problem with Ashley's father because her father is a drug addict who just, you know, had some problem in getting the drugs. And so that's why everybody had to die. It just doesn't really work for me. I mean, from the get-go, you don't really care for her father at all because he's barely a father in her life. He's just a drug addict, bipolar guy. But either way, I will say the ending is very intense because you have future Jack who's trying to avoid future Bobby, who's coming after him because he's investigating what happened. And then you also see in the past kind of what went down in the murder of the family. You know, you see the dad gets shot, the mom gets shot, Ashley's just trying to escape. You see it from both timelines. Both are really intense. Both are insane. It's got you just sitting there like, oh man, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna live? What I like seeing is in this timeline, Ashley figures out, okay, this is what I have to do to survive. Rather than calling Uncle Jack, I have to go straight to his house where he can save me. And what I like seeing, the way the movie kind of wraps it up is, you know, she goes to the house, Jack's there, he shoots Bobby, he saves her. Future Jack and his timeline, that gets erased. But what I thought was cool is after that timeline gets erased, I guess you could say like present Jack and future Jack in this case kind of like, I guess, merged minds and everything, so he's now completely aware of everything that went down. You know, Ashley's the same deal. And what's cool right here is saying, like, they're the only ones with any memory of what just happened. I was like seeing that with time travel, how when someone or a couple people go through some kind of time travel experience, they could come back to whatever point in time and they'll be the only ones who remembered what happened. Like, everything around them is the same and their memories haven't changed one bit. So all in all, Don't Let Go, it was a decent movie. The acting in the movie is very well done, especially the two leads. I thought both of them did great in this movie. The movie has an awesome premise. I really love the mystery element in here. I love the supernatural element to it. When the movie wants to be intense, it's really good at being intense. But the problem is, I wish the investigation was more about the murder behind Ashley and didn't kind of stray in the direction that it can. At those points, it did kind of lose me. I wasn't invested with it. I was kind of bored. I personally felt it would have benefited from a more stronger, more personal investigation, kind of. Like, I feel like someone with like a deep hatred for the family or deep hatred for her or something along those lines would have made for a better movie. In the end, although this is a movie I'm probably not going to go out of my way to see again, I'm also probably not going to recommend to too many people. I will say, I don't feel robbed watching it. I enjoyed it for what it was. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you all next time.